Hello everyone, hopefully you will be fine and enjoying the course of life. It's Rana Abdurrahman here, and today we will be discussing MB-300 getting started with Dynamics 365 Finance. As you all know that Unified Operations or the Customer Engagement Plan has been deactivated by Microsoft, and now these different apps have been pulled down into different pieces. Like earlier we have Finance and Operations as a single source file or the single solution, and then we had now we have Dynamics 365 Finance, Dynamics 365 Operations, Project Operations, Dynamics 365 Sales, Marketing, and so on. So today we are going to discuss one of them, which is Dynamics 365 Finance. As discussed earlier, that agenda will be same like introduction to Dynamics 365 Finance. We will be giving the high level functionality overview of Dynamics 365 Finance. So the modules which are included in the finance are the general ledger, cash and bank, tax, accounts payable, accounts receivables, credit and collections, budgeting, fixed assets, cost accounting, and electronic invoicing. Finance offers tools and features with built-in intelligent controls such as charts, KPIs, and workspaces to give insight into a company's cash flow, project supply, and demand. It can analyze customer demographics and cost of goods so that a company can better negotiate more advantageous agreements with their vendors and customers. The accounts payable and accounts receivable modules offer what a company needs to manage vendor and customer daily processes such as invoicing and generating or collecting payments. The budgeting module lets a company properly estimate the total financial requirements by determining how much finance is necessary to operate and what the requirements are for the fixed and working capitals. The sales and marketing, inventory management, procurement and sourcing, cost management, and cost control modules in Dynamics 365 supply chain management all contribute to making proper decisions to maximize the wealth in a company. So all these modules are from Dynamics 365 SCM. We will be covering those in the next session. As the figure illustrates, the general ledger module interacts with other modules in many scenarios. The cash and bank management, all the incoming and outgoing funds will be recorded in the general ledger, and each bank has a corresponding account in the general ledger. So for the cash and bank management, all the banks will have a unique general ledger account. It is recommended to have a separate GL account for each of the bank, but if you're gonna use the same account, that will be again okay. But issues with that is that, like, if you are gonna use the single GL account for all the banks, then you will be having much difficulties while running bank reconciliations with the GL. Next, the accounts payable module. All invoices and payment transactions are recorded in the general ledger. The accounts payable clerk matches the purchase order with the recorded invoice to determine if the vendor invoice is qualified to be paid, and upon due date generate payments, which through the general ledger will impact the cash and bank management. So these all are integrated. So basically for general ledger, cash and bank, accounts payable, project management and accounting, and so on, all these modules are treated as the sub-ledgers, and main ledger will be the general. Project management and accounting, based on the time and material or the fixed price projects, purchases often need to be made. In this case, project management and accounting module can interact with procurement and sourcing module in supply chain management to generate purchase orders, which will then be settled in the accounts payable module in finance. So we have all these functionalities covering the integration workflow or the integrated flow of finance with accounts receivables and payables, fixed assets, project management, and procurement and sourcing. Next, let's discuss about the general ledger. It's basically mother of finance. All the related debits and credits will be posted to general ledger. You can use general ledger module in finance to define and manage the legal entity's financial structure. The general ledger is a register of debit and credit entries. So as depicted in the figure, it is a typical process of a company for general ledger transactions. The examples include for the general ledger module or the accruals are used in the accrual accounting to track revenue that is recognized in the period that is earned, not when the payment is received. The accrual concept of the accounting is implemented using the general ledger, and to track expenses, costs that are recognized when they occur, not the payment is made. Second, you can allocate or distribute monetary amounts to one or more accounts or to accounts and dimension combinations based on the allocation rules. The two types of allocations are fixed and variable. You can also settle transactions between ledger accounts and revalue currency amounts. Finally, at the end of fiscal year, you must generate closing transactions and prepare your accounts for the next financial fiscal year. You can use consolidation functionality to combine the financial results for several subsidiary legal entities into the result for a single consolidated organization. The subsidiaries can be in the same finance database or in the separate databases. For now, you just need to have an overview of what functionalities are there and how they are being utilized for different scenarios. Financial reporting can be consolidated can consolidate multiple companies during report generation. The financial report that are available out of the box in finance and operations can be run at any time. These reports provide many additional benefits such as ability to drill down to all companies and dimensions. So here let's have a look on the general ledger within Dynamics 365. So here we have general ledger. Here we have different workspaces, the journal processing, which includes all the related transactions of the journal. Then we have a separate workspace for financial year end close. And then we have financial analysis workspace for all the companies. And next we have the financial analysis for the current company. Moving on to that, we have journal entries. Journal entries where you can use where you can use the journal. So here we have two options, the global journals and the within a company journal. So for when you are going to have a look or create the vouchers in the company you are logged in, you will be going to the journal. If you have global journal rights, then you can see this, and here you can create and view multiple journals from all the related legal entities for which you do have access. Then posting of journals and product journals. I have created a separate video on the product journals, so you can see out there, which I will be tagging with this video as well. Then we have a chart of accounts, account structure, the main accounts, chart of accounts, main account categories. So all these are created in the journal. Then we have advanced accounting structure and the account structure, which will be created using the dimensions, financial dimensions. Then we have structures, then we have funds, and so on. First, the high-level overview of general. Minimum setup is that you must create a legal entity, and you must default some of the setups from the ledger. So here you will be creating the ledger structures, the balance sheet accounts, the profit, and it's optional. You can create a single structure for both of them, but it's a better option to use a separate structure for balance sheet and separate for the profit and loss, because on profit and loss accounts we do have liberty to use the dimensions, and same we can go with on the balance sheet as well. But for profit and loss we need more tracking of the expenses and costs. So the dimension structures are more active, normally active on the profit and loss, and for balance sheet we normally go with minimum financial dimension rules. Statistical accounts basically are those which are not financial, which don't have financial impact. So you wanna distribute the expenses based on head count in different departments. So the head counts can be that head count can be used as a statistical account to record the head counts of each department. And if you are gonna use the area for the say electricity expenses, you wanna use the power points,
electrical points, or you wanna go with the area, or you gonna go with the head count, and all those sort of accounts will be catered and created using in this statistical. Again, you can rename it as it's completely open. You can name it as you want to, but it's better if you have a proper descriptive name. Then the currency which you will be using for this company. So here the accounting currency is the USD and the reporting currency is again the USD. The accounting and reporting currency, there's a difference between these two. The accounting currency in which you are going to post transactions within that company, and the reporting currency is that for which you are gonna take the reports in. Like if you have accounting currency of say GBP and you wanna report in the USD, so you can set transactions in the GBP and you can have reports, view reports in the USD as well. So then next, if you are using the multi-currency, you have to specify some revaluation accounts here. So realized gain, realized loss, unrealized gain, and unrealized loss accounts. And next thing, you can use a shared account, or you can create a separate chart of account for this. You have to specify that here, and next you can specify which fiscal calendar my ledger will be using. So these are the mandatory setups for general ledger. Once these are set up, you have created a chart of account, you have created a fiscal calendar, you have assigned the account structures, and you have provided the currencies, then you will be able to post the transactions. But before going that, you need to create few of the journals which you will be using for posting the transactions. So the journals can be created from the journal setup. Here we have journal names, and I have a separate video on that as well, so you can watch that for details. So that's a high level view of the general ledger. We do have a separate menu for period close. This will be used for closing the general ledger period. Next we have cash and bank management. The cash and bank management is for all the cash and bank related stuff. You will be using cash and bank management. You will be creating bank accounts within cash and bank management, and you will be using this as a source for the all company in and out transactions for the cash. It should be used to maintain the company's bank accounts and financial instruments that are associated with these bank accounts. These instruments include deposit slips, checks, bills of exchange, and promissory notes. You can also reconcile bank statement and print bank data on the standard reports. So examples of these includes manage letter of credit and import collections for the purchase and sale of goods across the international borders. So it supports international trade. Next, the manage letter of guarantee to manage agreement by the bank to pay a set of amount to some person. You can perform the bank reconciliations by importing bank statements and by using matching rules criteria to automatically select transactions for reconciliation, which saves significant time for the accountants. You have liberty to use the deposit and transfer bank funds, and you can cancel wrong deposits, update and maintain bank balances, define format for the checks. You have complete liberty on formatting the checks. When you create a checkbook for the bank, you will have complete liberty to format your check printouts, and you will be able to use the cash flow forecasting tools to analyze upcoming cash flow and currency requirements so that you can estimate the company's future cash. So again, let's have a look on how it looks like in the dynamics. So here we have cash and bank management, cash and bank management. Here we have workspaces, same as we had in the general ledger. It has its own related workspaces. So here, because we are in the cash and bank management, now we are more interested in the bank management, cash overview for all the companies, and cash overview for the current companies. So if you have like a role of the CEO, you will be able to watch the all companies. But if you are on the position such as like you have a role in the system of like manager finance, then you will be looking after the company you are logged in. Next, you can create multiple bank accounts within this. So let's have a look on the bank accounts. Here we have created some bank accounts. We are using demo data for this presentation, and have plenty of details which can be recorded on this bank form, which eventually can be used for online support and for online transaction support with the bank. So here we have the bank account number, we have the main account. This will be integrated, this bank will be integrated with the GL using this account. We can allow this our bank account to use multi-currency. We can specify or group these accounts if all are the, say if I group based on the currency, so all the euro, all the banks which are using the euro currency can be grouped in the bank euro, and others can be grouped into the separate bank group. We have account active status from and to dates. So if my account has been deactivated and I don't want to process transactions on my using my bank account, so I can use these dates to specify the active account dates. And next we have the additional information. We have CIN, we have SWIFT code, we have IBAN, the company ID, division, postcode, and all that stuff. If my bank supports the advanced reconciliation, which means that I can import bank statement using this account, so I'll be activating this. Otherwise, I will keep this as deactivated. So for today, for this session, we are just giving you an overview of what is cash and bank management and how it is being integrated with how it is being an integrated component of Dynamics 365 Finance. For details, you have to look into the system yourself and to grab more knowledge about how this functionality is being used and how it is impacting. Like how the bank transactions are being created and how these are being impacted in the Dynamics. So better if you are going to prepare for the MB-300, it is much better if you can log on to a trial environment and use that at least for whatever I'm discussing here. Next we have on the chart is the tax area. So for the so we have robust module for tax, for the indirect taxes, which is called the tax module. Here we can create the different sales tax codes. We can use these tax codes and we can group these tax codes. We can assign the settlement period for these tax codes. We have the ledger posting group for creating integration with the GL. And we do have the calculation parameters here. Like you can use a percentage of net, you can use a percentage of gross, you can use the percentage of unit-based sales tax. There are multiple options which are available to which can be used to calculate this percentage on the transactions. Next we have a rounding precision. Whatever decimals you are going to use, you will be updating here. By default it is 2. But you can extend it by doing some by activating few features and some extra customization sort of thing. So it is extendable up to 4. Rounding method, if you go with the normal, it means that you are at 0.5 level. You will be upgrading it to 1, and otherwise you will be considering it to 0. Let's have a look in the Dynamics. So here we have the separate module for tax. It is included in the Dynamics 365 Finance. So let's have a look on the sales tax codes. The screen which I have showed you on the screen is this one. So here we can choose to edit one code. So here we are gonna specify some of the settlement period for this account. We are using the C state ledger posting account. So if I go there and check view details, then you will be looking which accounts are gonna hit using this tax code. So for tax payable, I will be using 202-100, and for tax use tax payable, I will be using 222-100, and for settlement account I will be using same account. For vendor cash discount or the vendor cash customer cash discount, if it is applicable on this tax code, so I will be providing those codes here. Again, we have multiple options to use to configure this because every company must collect and pay taxes to various tax authorities. The rules and rates vary by country, by region, by state, county, and the city. So this form supports all those scenarios. We have multiple tax codes based on the different state, different cities, different items, and different calculation method. So here we can use the percentage of net amount, percentage of gross amount, percentage of sales tax. If I wanna have some additional sales tax on existing sales tax, so I will be using that. And when I will be using percentage of sales tax, then I will be providing the sales tax on tax code here. And if I want to go with the amount per unit, so I'll be going with the amount per unit and will be specifying unit here. And then the sales report setup, if I want to use some custom layout for the sales report, so I'll be utilizing these fields and providing the layout here. If I wanted to use separate sales layout report for the refunds, then I will be using, or the credit note, then I'll be specifying that layout here and utilizing these fields as well. And if I am using the retail and I want to specify some code for the printing on the retail invoices, then I'll be specifying that code here, and that will be printed out to those transactions where this code has been utilized on the retail. Next, let's have a look on the accounts payable. The accounts payable module in the finance lets you set up vendor groups, vendors, posting profiles, various payment options, and parameters regarding vendors, charges, deliveries and destinations, promissory notes, and other types of accounts payable information. So let's have a look on the payable area now. In Dynamics 365, the first module is the accounts payable. Here, same like the general ledger and cash and bank management, you are going to use the workspaces, the vendor invoice entry and the vendor payments. And for vendors, we have all vendors list page, we have purchase orders list page, and for invoices, we have all these functionality available. For the pending vendor invoices, pending vendor invoices which are assigned to me, invoice general, I can create the invoice general using this. Menu item, the global invoice general, again, which like we earlier we have global generals in the GL. You watch that if you are creating if you have access to different legal entities within Dynamics 365, so you will be able to create global invoice generals from a separate menu. Now let's have a look on the all vendors list page. Again, it's a high-level overview of the functionality available and offered by Dynamics 365 Finance within Dynamics 365 applications. So let's have a look on the single vendor account. Here we can specify the vendor account code, which can be set up using the number sequence. It can be automated. Now if you don't want to use the automatic account, so you can set it to manual and create your own sequence for the vendors. You will be specifying the organization type. Is it an organization or it is a individual person? Then you will be specifying the name. This name will be printed on the vendor invoices, and for searching you can have a separate name for to assist users how they can search. Then again we have a group here, which is used to create a link with the GL for this vendor. We have customer addresses, contact information, we have miscellaneous details, like we have different tabs here. I can in the miscellaneous details, I can specify the credit limit for this, and I can specify the credit rating. I can specify whether all the transactions are on hold or not. And again, if we are using this for intercompany purposes, then I have to mark this as active. And if I have the same vendor as the customer as well, so I will be specifying, I have optional to specify customer account on this miscellaneous details page. Vendor profile, is it a locally owned business? Is it a small business? Is it a one-time supplier, or it's only bidder, the woman owner, the minority owner, ethnic origin, and all other tags we can specify here, and this can be again utilized on different reporting for the different reporting purposes. These tags don't have any functionality for the financials, but these are used for the different reporting purposes. If I want to get a report for women-owned businesses or the locally owned vendors, then I will have to mark my vendors as from these options. All those vendors which are marked as a locally owned will be available to that report. Next, for the purchasing demographics, which currency I will be using for this vendor can be specified here, and from here it will be defaulted to my purchase orders and other transactions. Same for the reporting purposes. I can define the line of business, I can define the employee responsible, I can define the segment in which segment this vendor is operating, and the sub-segment of that market in which he is actually operating. If my vendor is a subsidiary and I have to invoice to its head office or its holding group, then I can specify different invoice account for my vendor. Otherwise, the same account will be used for invoicing. Next is the purchase order defaults. Whatever I want to default from my vendor group to the purchase order, I will be supplying all that information here. I can specify the charges group, so whatever charges I want to default for my purchase orders or for this vendor, I will be specifying all those into this group, and I will be able to select this group to or assign this group to my vendor profile. Then again, the site and warehouse which I will be using to receive goods, I can specify that here. Item vendor group, I can specify that here. If I'm using the purchasing pools, which are helpful for creating vendor aging, so I can specify to which pool this vendor belongs to. Default inventory status ID, again, whatever items I am receiving from this vendor, I can set those to available or the block state, so I will be defaulting that from my vendor profile. The payment criteria, next step is that this vendor is allowing me a 30 days credit. The method of payment is electronic, the payment type is electronic payment, and the specification is cash on delivery. If they are allowing us to have a schedule like installments, so I can go there and create payment schedule for this vendor. The account which I am using for this vendor for payment, so I'll be specifying that account here. If I have some some of the set days for paying to this vendor, I can specify that day here. Again, on the text 1099 and the retail purposes, I have different functionalities. Then the financial dimensions, whatever I want to default from my vendor to my purchase orders, I will be specifying all those dimensions on the vendor. It's better to specify here. All the functionality which I have showed you is somehow optional. The details are optional, but still it will be helpful for data entry if you specify these transactions, and it will be helpful for the reporting purposes as well if you specify on the vendor profile all those details. Otherwise, you can specify the terms of payment on the invoice or on the purchase order invoice, and you can specify all these details over that too. But if you want to default it and assist users, so it's better to default it from the vendor profile. Next, we have accounts receivable. So whatever functionality we have discussed for the vendors, similar functionality is also available for the accounts receivable. In the accounts receivable, we are going to deal with the customers, customer groups, customer sales orders, customer invoices and incoming payments like cash receipts from the customer. So let's have a look on the customer receivables too, accounts receivables. So here we have again workspaces, customer invoicing and the customer payments. We have all customers listing page, all the customers which are created in the Dynamics for this company, and customers which are on hold, customers with past due, and customers to I can unmerge customers. It's available. This, say if I have a customer and I want to earlier I have merged those, so now I am able to unmerge those customers into different, like from 1 to 2 customers. Then in the accounts receivable we have sales order. I can create sales orders. I can create all free text invoices. If you are not going to have like the sales order invoice, so you can directly invoice customers using the free text invoice. Then same goes for the payment journal and bill of exchange. Earlier we have the promissory notes. Now we have bill of exchange. And then periodic tasks. We have foreign currency revaluation. If we are dealing in the different currencies, so we have periodically we have to go and revalue our invoices for the foreign currency. Then we have customer to ledger reconciliation. As earlier I have discussed that all the related modules are considered as the subledgers. So subledger to the ledger reconciliation is available in almost all modules. So same is available here. If you if your accounts receivable single account is not syncing with what balance is shown on the receivables, then you have to reconcile the receivables with the GL account. So this periodic reconciliation can be used for that purpose. Then in order to create bulk account statements, we have that option available within Dynamics 365 Finance. So by going to customer account statement, I can print customer account statements for multiple customers based on the customer group and different criteria. Let's have a look on that as well. So here, if I want to use the print management destination, so if I have some custom format, or I am using the Excel template for creating invoices, or I want to have that Excel to be converted into PDF using the electronic reporting, so I'll be using, or I have some other custom SSRS reports, so I'll be using the print management. Otherwise, the system default report will be printed. So here I have from date to date, I have date interval, I have the balance could be shown based on up to date. Like if I am going for the account statement to calculate the balances up to today, so I will be specifying that date here. Otherwise, if I want to have like based on the 30th June, so you can specify that date here, and the system will be calculating balances up to this date. Next, if I want to show the credit limit on my account statement, I will be activating this. Only open transactions, only it should include the reverse transactions, and all other options can be defined here. Then next is I will be using aging definition periods for this. So the details of their transactions will have a table beneath the invoice account statement, beneath the account statement, which will be showing the details of outstanding balances. So now let's have a look on all customers and single customer, whatever detail we can, what are the details we can provide on the customer account. So same as we discussed on the vendor page, so all those related details are available on the customers page as well. So the customer account can be automated based on the number sequence, or it can be we can use manual as well. So the name of the customer, which will be printed on the invoices, and search name we can have a different search name for internal use. We can build integration with the customer group, and this is my intercompany customers. So I am using this group for intercompany customers. Then again, the language can be specified here. This is an optional thing, but if you want to print reports or you are thinking to print invoices, then language must be specified here. Again, the addresses, contact information, miscellaneous details, sales demographics, same segment, subsegment, and all that stuff. And then the credit and collections. On per vendor page, I was specifying what my vendor is allowing me to have credit, and on the customer, whatever I am allowing to my customer will be set up. And again, on the purchase order, we were defaulting things for the purchase order on the vendor page, and for the customer, we can default all those stuff from my sales order defaults tab. And same like that, the financial dimensions and the payment defaults can be defaulted from the customer account. So if I have some custom report for this customer, so I'll be specifying that template over here, and from here this report, instead of the general default report, I can specify a separate template for this, and the invoice for this customer will be printed out in that format. So now let's have a look on the credit and collections. Accounts receivable collections collections information can be managed in one central view by using the collections page in Finance. The collection agents can begin the collection process from generating customers list by using predefined collection criteria or from the customers page. So let's have a look of the credit collection. So here in the collect area, I can create payment journal, I can create collection letters. So if my customers are past due, for all those customers, I can run a set process using credit and collections module. So it allows me to send sequence of letters, to send different letters on different sequence. Like for the past due, which are past due till the 30 days, I can specify first follow-up email, and on the 60th day of the past due, I will be sending them a second follow-up, which may be a bit strong. And then if they're still unpaid and they go beyond the 90 days, so I can engage them with a court order or something like that. So, and moving on, for the 90 days and so on, I can create multiple collection letters, and these can be automated based on the aging snapshot. So let's have a look on the credit and collection module. Here I have the credit and collections workspace, which will be showing me all the related detail for the customers which are past due. I have all the customer details here. I have aged balance area here, which will be showing me the aged balances of the customers and the collection cases which are open or which I have opened for the customers, and the collection activities which we need to perform for these customers. So all the customers which are on credit hold will be here, and all the credit holds, open credit holds, close holds, and hold due for review, all that stuff will be available in the credit and collections credit hold management menu. From where we can set up is that we can set up interest scores for the past due payments. We can set up interest scores, and we can create interest notes and these can be associated with the collection letter as well. Like on the collection letter, I will be specifying that this interest will be your updated balance is this, and this amount of interest has been added to your balance because of non-payment of the dues. So I can create multiple collection letters, and I can set the collection letter sequence using the collection letter sequence. Like for the 30 days, I have created 30-day past due letter, and then the 60-day, then the 90-day, and then the 180 or the 365 days. So all these letters I have created here. Then using this menu, setup sequence letter, I'll be setting up the sequence of those letters that this will be sent to on the 30th day, and next will be on the 60th days. So that's all for today. Let's have a look for the credit and collections. If you have queries, so you can post in the comments. Next is the budgeting. So with proper budgeting process, companies can benefit from forecasting and use financial insights to compare actuals against a allocated budget. You can use the budgeting module in finance for basic budgeting, budget planning and budget control. So let's have a look on the budgeting module within Dynamics 365. Here we have that, and here we have the ledger budgets and forecast, budget planning workspace. These two workspaces are available by default. Then the budget entries, budget general reservations, budget plans. So let's go there and have a look out that. So in Dynamics 365, for creating budgets against the GL accounts, you need to go to create a budget plan. In the budget plan, you will be specific. It is a process, and you do have approval mechanism over there. You can use the budget planning workspace to track the process of budget approval. Like say if I go to the budget planning workspace, I'm using this process for my approval. So I have activities like milestones of initial budget preparation. This must be done before that date, and then the department request, then the CFO review, then stakeholders review, and the budget approval. So from by specifying the due dates, I can track these milestones if they are completed within the due date or not. So this information can be utilized using budget planning workspace. And how to create budgets and how to create budget plans, I will be creating a separate video on that. For now, it's just a high level overview for the budgeting process within Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. So for creating a budget, you need to create a budget plan. Then you need to approve that. Once that is approved, then in order to alter those budgets, you have budget entries to be posted using the budget entries area. Next is the fixed assets. So we do have fixed assets module in Dynamics 365 Finance. The fixed assets are those equipments or those properties which are not for sale. So all those equipments or the properties will be added as the assets in the fixed assets module. So fixed assets are the items of value such as buildings, vehicles, land and equipment that are owned by an individual or a company. So all those assets will be created in the fixed assets module. So the fixed assets allows you to create here we have a fixed assets module. So it allows you to create assets. You can post general entries, you can manage budget for these assets, you can run depreciations and transfers, acquisitions and disposition of asset. All that will be done using fixed assets module within Dynamics 365 Finance. So let's have a high level look on the assets area. So on the all assets page, I can copy fixed asset, I can create new assets, I can create different books for depreciation calculation, I can create a maintenance of assets. This is basically coming from the fixed asset management workspace, which is not fixed asset management module, which is not part of finance. So I can transfer fixed assets, I can have history of the transfers, I can add to fixed assets, like say if I have a building and I'm creating a room over there, so that will be addition to fixed asset and that will be treated as the addition of the fixed assets. If I have project management and I'm assigning my assets to my projects, then I'll be going to the projects and assigning these assets to my project. Next we have cost accounting. The cost control workspace is a central point where managers who are responsible for controlling a cost object or a set of cost object within a dimension or across dimensions can access reports. So the reports in the cost control workspace are managed by the cost accountants, so that the layout and the data that are used for reporting can be consistent across the organization. It means that we have a single cost hierarchy for my cost accounting. So using that hierarchy, I will be generating cost reports from Dynamics 365 Finance. Next is the electronic invoicing. For now, for both of these and for all these segments, I think it's just a high level. So you just need to have a high level idea that what these are and how these are being utilized within Dynamics 365 Finance. The details can be covered in the MB-310 and so on for the related certifications. But for MB-300, you just need to have a high-level review of what this functionality is and how it is being used. So for the electronic invoicing, it's basically part of electronic reporting. So electronic reporting is a complete robust system for electronic invoicing and all other related stuff. Like for the compliance management, I can have different reports for different authorities. So, but now today we are discussing electronic invoicing. So electronic invoicing for finance and Dynamics 365 supply chain management is a multi-tenant hyper-scalable solution. Multi-tenant means you can use this for multi-entities using the LCS. Hyper-scalable solution that allows the customizable electronic invoice document processing and document interchange. So interchange can be done using the lifecycle services, and processing can be done through the Dynamics 365 Finance or the supply chain management. The logic is executed outside of finance and supply chain management, and processing and integration rules are freely customizable. It is freely customizable, but again, other thing is that it is a complex solution to learn and to excel on. The service is primarily intended for e-invoice processing in business to government settings, although it may be customized for other uses as well. So for that, you need to go to the electronics reporting module, and from there you will be able to see how that is working. So I will be hopefully after these sessions we will be having separate session on electronic reporting too, in which we will be covering in electronic invoicing in much more detail. Thank you for watching. I think it's more to grab from today's session. So better is if you can log on to Dynamics 365 if you have environment with you, or if you don't have that environment, then you can go with the trial, and you can use that trial for at least 1 month. And within that month, I think you will be able to pass to prepare for this MB-300 session, for MB-300 certification, and you can learn a lot within that 1 month. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.